Hi everyone, welcome to Scholars Weekly. This is our fourth episode and we're uploading this after so long. I am Siddhant, this is Prateek, and today our guest is Mr. Dhruv Goel. So let's get started with the podcast. Okay, so hi Dhruv, welcome to Scholars Weekly. I am Siddhant and this is Prateek. We are the co-founders and co-presidents of the CDF Maharaja Agrissean College chapter. And welcome to the podcast. And so yeah, we can just start. You can just do like a quick intro of yourself, and then we can start with our questions as well.
Sorry, actually, a break happened in between.
Yeah.
What did you say at the last?
You can just start with like a quick intro of yourselves, right? And then we'll proceed with the questions that we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my name is Dhruv, and I've been recently, till now, I was like assistant professor at JK Lakshmipat University, teaching macroeconomics and business mathematics to BBA students. So I'm like really interested in the economics, and I kind of cover in my free time a lot of areas of economics, both using both popular readings and technical articles. And this engagement with economics actually started while I was pursuing civil engineering. So,
Right, right,
so like every student in India, it's the case that many just choose engineering, whether you like it or not. And same happened with me.
right,
And yeah, but it was not. I would never feel like very connected with what I was learning there.
right,
And somehow,
Right.
when I first read Karl Marx's Capital, and it suddenly makes sense. Like there are so many issues, and you can analyze in this way in more logical manner, and maybe connect it with data, and then bring out some inferences. Then I decided that I should pursue economics properly. I
right,
prepared for some entrance exams and got into Gokhale. But even like in Gokhale, it felt like there's a lot to learn.
right,
So, so one thing with me was like I was good in maths.
Mm.
And uh, and I felt like economics can use a lot of maths, and then was being used in civil engineering. But when I was doing my masters in Gokhale, there I realized even that technical exposure was not that much, and I wanted more. So I
right,
went to Ahmedabad and I started, learning all the as like the frontier knowledge on everything. But with Ahmedabad, it was like I was like really ambitious with my research, and I wanted to do as best as good as any student can do in, for example, in University of Chicago. But there's not everything that aligns with that. And then some external events happened during that time, like COVID. I had to like reformulate my thesis proposal
right, right,
because of that,
Right.
because my earlier proposal required a lot of groundwork,
mhm,
and and COVID made that impossible to do. So I had to change it, and then I changed it. But then in my personal life, then some many external events started happening. So I was not able to like pursue it properly. So I started to like think like maybe we should take a break, and maybe I can do this sometime else, because I think like there's this fixed journey of doing things, but sometimes things might become too difficult to just follow that path. Maybe
Right.
sometime later. So I got
right,
married. So I got married, and then I started teaching, and now I'm looking for some like research position, and will again pursue PhD in some time when I get when I things get stabilized.
right, right.
Hmm.
That's great. That's great.
Mhm.
Okay, that's like the perfect introduction. Like I can get out of like I learned so much like in just few seconds. So, particularly, I will firstly I'll just brief you a little. Like, what's like the reason why we do this podcast is like particularly we could provide like a level of access to information to
Mhm.
folks like us who are like just beginning their career and who are in their undergrad, right?
Yeah.
And particularly, I'm very keen about the radical switch from from which you made from civil engineering to economics. And was it any easier, or like, as you said, you felt like a gap between your current discipline and you felt like the economics can bridge that gap? And was it like only the primary reason that you thought? And yeah, like any more light towards that? And if like some guy or gal who is pursuing a discipline which is like something different, and they want to break into the space of economics, like how, what would be like to go about it, would be like the right way to think, right? So yeah, any light you can shed there.
Yeah. So yeah, like it first is about passion. So I'm kind of a bibliophile kind of a person. So I like read a lot of books. So once like when I was doing my civil engineering with this, there was like some boring aspects about it. So you have to memorize a lot of things
mm,
and like building codes and everything, and things will like work in that way.
Mhm.
But your mind is always looking at what you're reading in newspapers and why is that a problem. Like for example, like for a very a naive question that I used to have, why the government cannot print more money. Like
mm,
that's such a naive question,
Right, right.
uh, uh, and there was not a like how could you understand that thing. Like it was
Right.
not easy that time, but you were thinking about that, not about bridges and buildings. So I just started exploring. So like the first and also like I used to like some watch movies and everything, and you would say, and there would be like this tension between communism and capitalism, and what exactly is that tension you want to understand, why is that tension there, and what motives are the people. So for example, I also read this book, Road to Serfdom by Friedrich Hayek. So that was a
mm,
like I think the manifesto, like it is like a capitalist manifesto of Karl Marx. So Friedrich Hayek's
Okay.
Road to Serfdom is considered as a capitalism manifesto. So
Got it, got
so you get
okay.
this like two opposite points of view,
mm,
and then you like try to, and then you start to think like so much can be understood just by applying logic and inferences. And what most of the debates that you see around you, it's like people not using logic.
it.
So
Right.
Right,
that was
yeah.
my case. And for any other student like who want to switch like things now. So when I switched, what that was the time like 2015, but now it is like so much easier.
mm,
So there are so many things. Like for example, American Economic Association. So
Hmm.
they have this journal called Journal of Economic Perspectives,
Right.
which is like open access journal, and that
Okay.
is a
right.
non-technical note about the latest thing that is happening. So if you read that, that will make you even more, you know, aware about the latest research happening. So for example, what happens with economics is like economics faces a lot of, uh, I would say like. Not a right criticism, that they assume everything, and also model, they make model of everything. And but the thing is like it is so much more.
Right.
What you are criticizing economics about is like what used to happen like 30-40 years ago. There's so much new things are happening, and people don't know that. So that is a great way to start. Even like you can find so many right now in YouTube videos, people exploring. So for example, if you know about this Institute of New Economic Thinking,
Hmm.
so that
mm,
brings out very like animated and very interactive videos about right. So for example, right now the biggest issue for you people in Delhi is climate change, right?
Right,
right,
right.
right.
So,
Yeah.
so there's this great professor called Juliet Shore, I think that is what her name. So she has this small sets of lectures on exactly climate change, and she will also criticize economics, but she's criticizing from being inside from the economics, like exactly what criticisms are there. Like for
Right, right.
example, talk a lot about like for example Nicholas Stern. So in
mm,
economics, for example, especially this climate change thing. So in I think 2018-19, economics Nobel Prize was given to William Nordhaus. So who said that there is a trade-off between economic growth and working for climate.
Hmm.
But people like Nicholas Stern and there were other person Martin Weitzman. They used to say that no, that is not the case. So that is what those lectures explore, like why these guys are also correct. For example, like recently I there's a Jaipur Literature Festival happens. So I also met Nicholas Stern and got his lecture.
Oh,
So
really?
Oh,
That's
right.
yeah,
great.
yeah. So that is the thing. Like once you are like very more interested in something, it becomes easier. No matter what, even if it's not just economics, anything. Like if you are very interested in sociological questions, so sociological questions are more narrower in school. Like for example, exactly like you will think like in Delhi, in some slum areas which are just around some small factories, how things are happening there. So those are the kind of questions that is coming to your mind, and then you can go into sociology. There's so many good books on sociology. You can just start reading. So I think like the best way is just to read as much,
Right.
Right. Yeah.
and like good sources, not just the newspapers or any magazine, just good sources, and there are so many of them.
That's great. That's great for your input. Siddhant, you can just move to your question. I think I'm more interested, like, to hear your side.
Yeah. Okay. So, see, one of the questions that I had when I was like, when I looked at a LinkedIn profile is something is that you know about like Python and the coding thing, right? So I was just wondering, as somebody who doesn't have a background in that, right? See, since I was a commerce student and like I never really got into computer science, how important would that be to like economics or like making a career in economics? To like a student like me who doesn't really have that strong of a background in coding, especially.
So see, even I did not have the background. So I come
Mhm.
from a very small place where we never learned coding. And when I went into engineering, we only had two courses for coding,
Yeah.
and the person who taught that assumed that we learned coding a bit in school. So in my engineering, I did not study any coding.
Right.
And
Hmm.
the coding that I studied was in my masters. Okay,
Okay.
Right.
and I
Okay.
did and I did by myself. Like when this Coursera things started,
Mm-hmm.
I
Hmm.
started learning R, Python, and all these things. So
Hmm.
Right.
the point is like when you start with these like languages, like programming languages, what you have to
Right.
understand is you don't have to be computer scientist. And also, we are living in the age of AI. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even
Yeah.
I am using AI a lot for coding things. Okay?
Right.
So
Hmm.
so all you have to learn is how to apply logic. Once
Uh,
you get to like imagine that algorithms that you can imagine, like the thing that you want your computer to provide to you. Once you
Mm-hmm.
can
right. Yeah.
start imagining that, and that you can only do when you have like fundamentals you have strong of
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Sure.
microeconomics. Okay, once you have that strong, you
Hmm.
will get in your head like how you want to transform this data set and that data set, and you can just ask AI.
Hmm.
And by just practicing these things, you will learn it yourself.
Right.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
maybe just do small courses. For example, there's this very good professor, Scott Cunningham,
Mm-hmm.
and in economics, causal inference is like right now the most, I will say, the hot topic to learn. Okay? Everybody is learning causal inference. And you will just see that if you go to his open access book, there's Scott Cunningham's The Mixtape. So
Okay.
he explains things very interactively and very good, and also he will provide the small snippets of codes for all the three things: Stata, Python, and I think Julia. So Julia is
Right.
also used in economics a lot.
Right.
So
Right.
just by practicing, you know. So you don't have to be computer scientist. You don't have to learn in and outs of a language. You just have to think of it as like something that you can mold it for your purposes.
Right. Right.
That is what I believe. Like seriously, there are economists who are like who have the knowledge of these programming languages just as good as any other computer scientist.
Right.
I feel like that was just I want to learn more of economics than the computer science. So
Right.
I
Right.
just
Right. Yeah.
so I just like managed to learn just enough that can serve my purposes. And I think like currently that if you don't use AI for your intellectual output much, but as your research assistant kind of buddy, like who
Right.
can provide you syntax and everything, then it's really good.
That's perfect. That's perfect. One
Mhm.
thing I would like to put like a little focus on in the space of research, right? So, as Siddhant said, we both have kind of stalked your LinkedIn thoda sa.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to ask, you've pursued your doctoral fellowship from IIM Ahmedabad,
Yeah.
right? So, I have one of my mentors was like pursuing their fellowship there in I think Ravi J. Methia's like
Also,
uh,
Ravi just hi.
the
Yeah.
Center for
Oh,
Education.
actually, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So, particularly I would like to say that he didn't had a level of funding which he was hoping for, right? And he always felt like the state of research, particularly India, he didn't feel it was like a level of self-sustaining, right? So he had a lot of regrets that if he had an option or a better state of knowledge, he would have pursued it from outside India. Do you feel that way in some sense, or is it like more that it is more viable to do in India, or maybe a level of like accessibility or maybe like eligibility freedom which is there in India, right? Rather than like something which is outside India. And would you have done the fellowship if you had that level of like the knowledge right now which you have? Would you still have done it from that same place, right? So,
See, what I felt was lacking was not funds, especially
mhm,
when I'm Ahmedabad.
mhm,
So funds were not, they were not like any lack of funds. What was lack of, like, I would say, was knowledge. Like
okay,
that somebody can guide you, like with this particular method to how to do research, or that was the only thing. And for that only, I would say, like, I would like to go outside. But otherwise, in India, economics, I would say in economics there are a lot of money like flowing around, and also institutes are giving such a good stipend. Like look at this Asoka or Sivnadar, even private universities.
mhm,
They tuition fees, there's zero tuition fees, and there's a lot of like at least 50,000 stipend.
right,
Okay, and they also good money for conferences and for research, even better than many of the professors who must be getting in other private universities. For example, I was working at JK Lakshmipat. I had like less than one third of the money at my expense for research purposes as I had as a PhD candidate. Just
right, right,
think of the difference. So I don't think like money is that big of a problem. Let's just see like what LinkedIn posts are coming right now for the students who are doing pursuing at London School of Economics.
right, right.
So what they are, so you will see that they are post that they are trying to find this research assistants, and what they are paying 15,000, 20,000, 25,000. Why?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Because they want to do research from their comfort place of London.
Yeah,
They know they can find a person here. But the
yeah.
point is, if you like, if you are really, I will say, like good at what you do,
Mm-hmm,
first of all, you can get people and you can get money to like pay them, or you can do it yourself.
mm-hmm,
Seriously, means I personally so do not believe that there is that much lack of funding. Like I'm doing like three or four research papers, and
right,
without any access to data sets, without any access to journals, and all I am thinking about is like the way I'm doing research is like just exploring these different questions, the
right,
questions that have been unexplored.
right.
So as I said, like once your fundamentals are strong, you can do that. And yeah, I don't think like funding is that big of an issue. Funding becomes issue for, I think, for pure science students,
Okay,
not for economics. Economics have a lot of money going around. There are so many call for proposals that are going on, like take this fund for this, take fund for that. Then there are international funding available. Okay,
right,
take funding from
Right.
us. If it's a good research idea, take funding from us.
right,
JPAL gives a lot of money for if you want to do some kind of randomized controlled trials. JPAL is there to fund you if you have a good idea. Okay,
right.
so money is there. ऐसा नहीं है कि money नहीं है.
That's great. That's great. I really appreciate your input here, uh, particularly here. Siddhant, yeah, anything you want to add as well?
Actually, see, me and Pratik had like a joint question with this. See, we saw that you worked for the EIU, right? I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
me and Pratik had like a combined question. Pratik, can you like just expand on this? Yeah, I just want to talk about your experience, and I think
Okay.
Pratik had like a specific question that he wanted to ask.
Yeah, any like, see, particularly, I feel the research that we do in academia
Hmm.
is is kind of different than the research we do in maybe let's say any boutique market research firm. Like what's like would be like the primary difference over there, right? And how like if there's a pure academian, how a person should go about it. Like I'm personally asking for even myself, like if I break into
Yeah.
something like that, how even I should go about it, right? I have a very like knack towards the academia, and if I have the option to switch someday, uh, how different would it be, right? So anything, like any input towards that, right?
Okay. So see, regarding like the experience on the Economist Intelligence Unit, like it is a good, like you get to know so many things, like how people are using, these forecasts. So basically, our role was to somehow provide this very like credible forecast, like 5 year ahead forecast and everything. And if something changes, then explain to them why that will change, that will affect your forecast. But one thing that what happens with the corporate sector is like they get stuck with something. Like for example, they have started using some method or some model, so they will get stuck to it for a very long period of time until someone comes at a very big position who changes things. So everybody will be using the same, and also they don't care much about how much they just care like, especially this big international corporates, and if they are hiring you in Indian office, so what they care is if you can replicate like what they have been doing since.
Got
That
it.
is all they want,
Yeah.
like you to have bad good English writing and everything, and to replicate what they have been doing. They don't
Okay.
want you to use your brain. That is the thing. And
Okay.
Right.
and in academia is what the thing is like, you have a freedom. I'm
Hmm.
not saying complete freedom, but a lot more freedom to pursue anything. But both have their pros and cons. So in
Hmm.
corporate, if there is a guided research, so these things happen less. For example, you don't need a lot of motivation. काम होता रहेगा, पैसा आता रहेगा. और academia में you need a lot of internal motivation. Otherwise procrastination happens a lot.
Right.
So that is the thing. So you have to choose. Like if you think you can be self motivated enough, then you can live with a bit less money or less stability of that money, then go to academia. But if you
Right.
think you want stable income source, and you are not that much that of a risk lover, and also like you think like you struggle with that patience and motivation, then go
Right.
for corporate. At least start with corporate, if not else.
Okay.
Just see, are done there.
Right.
So that is.
The sponsor for this episode is our client partner, Petal.
Petal is a pet care tech company. It has started back in 2022, and we love working for them. They help building software and digital tool, particularly for pet care business, which could be grooming, veterinary, or even like small, pet daycare, right? And they help create like digital tools and data infrastructure for small businesses as well as like large pet care veterinary conglomerates, right? So I'm really, really happy to have them. That's great. That's great. Anything, Siddhant, you want to input in this space, right?
Not as of right now. I just wanted to ask if you have any advice for any students who are listening to this, who like want to make a career in research or policy, who want to like go from like studying economics to having a career in that. Like if like any advice you want to give from yourself to these
Okay.
students.
Okay, to the students, I would say like
Hmm.
just read a lot, and for varied sources, not just textbooks.
Hmm.
Like for example, read World Bank reports. So for example, the last report was on middle income trap, which is a lot of stuff on India.
Mhm.
So read those things. And for example, IMF brings out this magazine, finance magazine. People who are interested in finance, they will see like this short snippets of top researchers saying things, very layman words about things. So motivate yourself, if to ideas, to economic ideas. Once you
Right.
get motivated enough, then you will get into technical knowledge. And also like try to attend events that happens, big events. For example, recently I was at Delhi School of Economics where Susan Athi
Hmm.
and Cook Executive were there. So these are like really big people. Susan
Right.
Athi is like the mother of the use of ML and AI in economics.
Right.
And Ufuk Exegesis is currently the frontier researcher on growth, on
Okay.
economic growth.
Right.
So
Okay.
these two people are great. So go and attend their sessions. Like that happens because Delhi School of Economics is like near you, and it's
Mhm.
kind of a, a center of this all economics
Right.
research.
Right.
ISI Delhi, and I think these events are open to everybody.
Hmm.
Okay,
Right.
try to talk to people, you know, ma- even try to make connects. Like they it might be the case that a big professor from IISc Delhi might be sitting in just beside you, you
Right.
know. So,
Right.
so like this, try to build a community around you through LinkedIn and everything.
Hmm.
People who are very interested in economics and everything. So all this will help you like remain motivated. Because
Right.
I think what really happens is like people lose motivation.
Mhm.
When
Right.
you get disconnected with others, the community, or the latest research that is happening.
Right.
So
Right.
just be connected with it. Other things will follow.
That's
Automatically you will find these good courses and this thing that you will learn technical things also. Once you're
mhm.
motivated enough, everything follows.
True.
That's great. That's great. And one thing, this is like one another. This is like a small question I ask every academic who comes here. Like we have only discussed this maybe 3 or 2% away. So I don't know what how much you're aware, but particularly in the state of like the because of the new education policy, most of us have
Uh,
a
Sorry,
4 year
Pratik,
degree.
can you repeat?
Sure,
I
sure,
think
sure, sure,
signal was
absolutely.
lost for a bit. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, particularly, I ask every academic who comes here about the new education policy, particularly for the undergrad, which has been like previously we used to go for a 3 year degree.
Hmm.
Now it's a 4 year degree, right? With a mandatory focus on research and with a small perk, with it gives a level of eligibility. We can directly apply for a PhD program, right? And
Right.
so I wanted to know how good is it any favorable if you think in our case, or maybe it is just maybe expanding some process and maybe this approach is not favorable to the market of India or maybe the state of students who are here in यहाँ पे, right? So I would like your opinion on this, right?
Okay. So my opinion is like I think in spirit NEP is really good. In the
Mhm.
sense that I think India had a lot of master's degrees.
Mhm.
Right.
And I think they were redundant. Like uh,
Right, right. I
like
also
what was happening in India was in higher education was we were reading a lot of old stuff.
Mhm.
Syllabus were not being changed, and then you will do masters and MPhil, and then you will get to know what is the latest. And
Mhm.
sometimes if you will see, for example, BSc, you are taking a degree, then you are taking an MSc, you are reading a lot of similar things. There were a lot of overlap, and then you go to a different college, and then there were like things that syllabus was sometimes different and sometimes a lot overlapping things. So I
Right.
think in spirit it is really good. Like this 4 years thing, and just don't have to do masters. You do masters only when you want to become a domain expert and you want to get a job as a
Right.
domain expert or something.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you get clarity of what domain expertise you want in your 4 years bachelor's. And
Mhm.
4 years bachelor's is a good. Otherwise, even most of the time you don't have to do the masters,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and you can go directly for PhD because you're
Right.
getting the research exposure. So
Right.
sometimes I think, like in India, we used to have a lot of degrees, and people used to do so many things. Like previously, an Indian any student would do a BA honors in economics, and MA honors in economics, and MPhil in economics, then PhD in economics. Why?
Yeah.
Like that was the thing.
Right.
In US or UK, you will see people with PhD degrees who are like just 25, 26 years old. And
Right.
in
Yeah.
India, like, by the time you are 30, you cannot have that PhD degree because of the so many stages. So in that way,
Exactly.
I think NP is really good, and the kind of flexibility that it wants to provide.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That will, but only I think that the problem is in implementation, how good it is implemented.
Exactly.
It is implemented in a really, really good way. I think it is a really good thing for India because
Yeah.
we don't want redundant things. Because one, if you see like in demand and supply, so there's a lot of supply glut, of
Hmm.
people with master's degrees, a lot of supply,
Right. Right.
and that has made the wages very suppressed in India
Mhm.
for master students. Until unless you are from, then the differentiation is coming from which colleges you are
Right.
master's
Right.
degree,
Yeah.
and the difference is huge. So this glut should stop.
Okay.
That is the
Uh,
thing.
okay. Plus, adding to this, let's take like for me, if I have done like the 4th year and my dissertation, and I have some sort of a level of like understanding of how the research goes, and in future I want to apply for maybe like a RA position. like maybe a professor, like you have been teaching, and if let's take like two candidates who have done their masters, I think, in economics, or coming to a folk who has, or maybe me who has done a 4-year degree, right?
Hmm.
So I assume you would prefer a guy who has done their masters. But if to stand out in that particular, applicant pool, what should be like the approach for any particular student? This is like kind of like a very specific question to me because I have kind of like the aspiration to do something like this, and I know the
Hmm.
yeah, I want to like at least try the space of research before I go to corporate, right? And I see so many applications for these large universities from ISB, IIMs, and I know the applicant pool is extremely, extremely, filled with pedigree. So just to, segregate myself across these like good folks, what should be like any maybe a good approach for it, right? So
Okay. So, one I think want to be very clear, teaching and research is different.
Mhm.
For teaching, you will have to have a master's degree because you
Right,
want some domain expertise.
right,
But
right.
research, I will say anybody can do. Like research, somebody. Like I personally, I am doing currently, like I'm doing 4 research things, two with high school students
Okay,
and two with undergraduates.
okay,
So
that's
I'm
awesome.
like guiding them towards research.
Hmm.
So and I like help them in coming with the idea and everything. And maybe sometimes if I feel like the idea is really good, I then do a lot of uh, the frontier methods. I apply as much as I can,
Hmm.
and then we try to make the paper.
Right,
So
right.
what I do is like I give them like a small task, like for example data compilation or something. So for example, there was this one girl from BBA who I asked her to compile the data for night lights for Indian districts
Hmm.
because we did not have the district level GDP data.
Hmm.
So the research is different that you can do with 4-year degree, but teaching you cannot.
Right, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
One thing that you can stand out is like when you apply to any person, anybody, you just read properly like what is the project about, okay,
Hmm.
and read their own research like what has happened,
Right,
and then make a connect like how you can like properly tailor your application. So what happens is like most of the people they just give a constant application across all their applications that is constant. They do
right,
not change it, they do not tailor it.
Mhm.
And what many times is happening, like for example, one of my professors was saying that many students are giving a lot really good SOP or research statement because those are AI generated, but when they are interviewed, it comes to know that they don't know those skills properly.
Right, right.
So
Right.
be really true about your skills, and maybe even stand out like the way you write, even if it's not a good English, that will be a standout thing because you're not using an AI.
Yeah,
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
and try to connect like be honest like what you know and how you can help them,
Hmm.
and and just try to get involved. Like for example, if you are in which years, which year currently?
We're both in a
Both
pre-final.
of you. Yeah.
Yeah,
The third.
pre-final, third year, third.
No, yeah, no. So you will have fourth year also.
Yeah,
Yeah, so start connecting with the people, especially young faculties,
Hmm.
and say like we can help you like in this way. This is what I know, and once you get this experience, maybe they make you co-authors. Like for example, I make the case that even if the contribution is small, I make them co-authors, like the students who work with me. So if you get that, then your application
yeah, yeah.
will really stand out.
Yeah.
Just get during your college education, get some experience of working with these people on really
Absolutely,
like high quality research, even if it is a very small lab, just data compilation or whatever. Because
absolutely,
what is happening is like there are a lot of applicants with master's degree and advanced degrees, but maybe they don't have that experience of working with complicated data or large data sets.
hmm,
Because really speaking, like what happens is that many people just get these certificates also, like they will say मुझे R आता है, state आता है, ये सब आता है,
Right.
but they will not make their hands dirty. like
Right.
working with government data
Hmm.
or going on the ground to do survey.
Right.
Right. Right.
And right now, I will like really say that what the faculties want is people who have made their hands dirty, like who
Okay.
can do this grunt work, you know,
Right. Right.
like who can go to the people, interview them, survey them, and who can like government data. That is what they want.
Hmm.
Okay?
Right. That's great. That's great.
Mhm.
Okay. That's, I think that winds up all of our questions here. I think, yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Dhruv, for giving us this time.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I really, really appreciate it for, giving, kids like us, small chance to just talk to someone who has that level of like an experience or pedigree. It is very, very insightful. And uh, like this, the level of like insights which you give, and it's very hard to get. I personally feel that because our particularly in the scope of, if I talk about the DU circuit, the access to information is very built in a bubble
Hmm.
where you bounce off only ideas, right?
Yeah.
And to hear from folks like you, it's really a pleasure, and I really, really appreciate it, right? So thank you so much for your time, Mr. Dhruv, and I really appreciate you for taking the time
Yeah.
to talk to
Yeah,
us, right?
it was like my honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
It
I
also
think
feels good.
people in our like circle, like the economic circle, people in our course, right? I think they're gonna learn a lot watching this.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
So thank you
and
so
it
much
was
for joining.
great. Like,
Thank you
yeah,
so much, Mr. Dhruv, for your time. I hope you have an amazing weekend, and
yeah,
yeah, I hope we stay in touch. And this will be out maybe like in a day or two, right?
Yeah.
If
yeah, yeah.
Siddhant finds the time to edit it
Yeah.
fastly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Well,
Yeah.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Mr. Dhruv.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Bye.
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 Okay, guys, thank you for watching the fourth episode of Scholars Weekly. I hope you liked it and I hope you learned a lot. And I hope we can get another one out soon. So, yeah, thank you for watching. Podcast out. Yes.
Bye.